over a period of years, starting during the 2020 election cycle, the People's Republic of China carried out what is believed to be the largest compromise of election data in history, resulting in China's illicit acquisition of 220 million U.S. voter files.
All right, Gordon, my job is to play devil's advocate no matter what anybody says. That's what our viewers demand here. It's what makes NewsNation different. I heard him expose, if you will, what China is doing, or maybe some of what China is doing, saying we're going to show you some intelligence of it. But I didn't hear him push back at all. I didn't hear anything about sanctions or canceling visits or deporting diplomats or deporting Chinese intelligence officers who are already and continuing to try and help and organize the socialist movement in America. Did you?
No, we didn't. But that could very well come. And then the issue is going to be whether Xi Jinping will want to come to Washington in September after this. And I suspect that the answer to that is no. So I think we're going to see some very interesting
what's happening? Take us inside Beijing. What they're watching this. It's somewhere in the morning tomorrow morning in Beijing. Are they shocked and trying to figure things out, or they view this as the cost of doing business and have no shame?
My sense is that they are surprised, because I think that after that summit, they felt that they owned the United States and they owned the president of the United States. And Trump just today showed them they didn't. And so I think that they are very much going to be in a panic, because they know for a number of things that they need President Trump's approval, especially access to the U.S. market, because right now China is extremely trade dependent and they can't replace the United States. President Trump just was willing to call them out in public. That's the worst thing for them. And so, yeah, I think they're in a panic.
Well, and we know what the Chinese playbook is. They will start playing the victim. Gordon, will have you back to talk about it. Bring back the panel, Mark Halperin, Larry O'Connor, Kevin Walling. Gents, there was a section added to President Trump's speech, clearly at the end. I thought it was going to go somewhere under 25 minutes. It went a little bit longer. That section was calling out ABC News and NBC News, who did not take the primetime address. The broadcast networks, CNN took part of it, MSNBC took a very little bit of it as well. Earlier in the program last night, I asked Brendan Carr, the chairman of the FCC, whether the broadcast networks had a responsibility to take it, as this is a presidential address in primetime. Take a listen.
And anytime the president of the United States stands up there in prime time to deliver information or news or content, I think broadcasters should want to make sure the American public can see that.
Do you think the networks have a responsibility in terms of their TV licenses, the local broadcasters and the networks themselves in terms of public interest have a responsibility to air it?
Well, look, broadcasters are fundamentally different than all other means of distribution, whether it's cable or podcasts, and broadcasters have a responsibility and an obligation to operate in the public interest.
I went on to ask if they had a responsibility. He told me I'm not going to give you the headline. Mark, conceivably the reason the networks would say they didn't take this is because they thought this was going to be a partisan speech. Other than saying the Save America Act needs to be passed, I think in retrospect, this was a far newsier speech than partisan speech that would have justified their behavior.
I would guess, if I understand your point, that if they knew exactly what he ended up saying, they would have taken it.
And you agree with that?
That they should have? Or that
I'm not saying whether they should or shouldn't. I'm just saying that their justification conceivably would be, hey, this was a really partisan speech. We didn't take Biden's partisan primetime speech with the black columns. Therefore, we didn't have to take this. This was not that partisan speech.
Well, my sense from the conversations I had was that the concern was less about it being partisan than it being unverified claims of the kind he's made in the past on this topic.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.